Gives me all the light.
There we go. Here we go.
All right, folks, if you don't know me by now, I'm Bill Porter. I welcome you to the meeting. As you can see, we're going to have a video today that Pat will introduce as soon as I pass the torch over to her. Then we're going to have some discussion. Then we have a break. And then we're going to have a little more discussion. And then we're going to talk about new attendees. And I will talk more about that when we get to them. And we're then going to have open discussion, closing remarks. And then we have overtime. And overtime, I hope to hear from everybody who has been through the earthquake and the pollen season and if they're okay. Many things are happening. Pollen has arrived, earthquakes and shocks. The big dance is going on. We have solar eclipse on Monday, and spring break appears to be endless. But anyway.
Bill,
yes,
don't forget the sky is falling. The sky is falling.
the sky will be falling, but if you put your glasses on, you won't have any problem.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay. And it was amazing. Somebody sent me a thing about it's officially springtime in the South. You can't tell you exactly what day it is because the calendar is covered in pollen and our eyes won't stop watering. We have to keep moving the thermostat between heat and AC, but trust us, spring is back. So, and also somebody sent me a timetable that looks like this is all about the solar eclipse. And I have some stories about that, but I may save that for overtime. Anyway, Pat, I'm going to pass the torch over to you so we can get started. And it's all yours, Pat.
Okay, thank you, Bill, for that warm welcome, and welcome to everyone today. And thank you for joining us on this, here in Alexandria at least, beautiful spring day. We are going to start today's meeting, although it's primarily an open discussion meeting, with a short video that was actually recorded a year ago in March of 23, when myself and another member, Diva, actually went on an in-person tour of a store called Mobility City that's located in Alexandria, Virginia. And the owner of the store, Bennett Helfgott, took us around as we recorded his descriptions and showed us various assistive technology that he has available at the store, which is, by the way, named Mobility City. And all of this it will be in the chat. His motto is service, advice, rental, or purchase. And the cool thing about it is that Mobility City is located here in Alexandria, but if you go to his website, and we'll be putting that up, you can go to a find a location feature, put in your zip code, and you will find that there are mobility cities throughout the country. So if you're not near Alexandria, Virginia, don't fret. There are others. It's a franchise, I presume, throughout the country. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking so we have time to show the video. We thought it was important because so many of us are concerned with fall prevention. Mike Foxworth always said to me, it's not PN that'll kill you, it's when you end up in the hospital with pneumonia and other issues. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and show this recording, and we are not going to do the Q&As from last year, but again, turn it over to us where we can share our own experiences with assistive technology, both the positives and the not so positive. So Judd, if you would start the video, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Pat Gualtieri, and I'm the president of the Peripheral Neuropathy Support Network. We're here in Alexandria, Virginia today at Mobility City. a store owned by Mr. Bennett
Healthcott.
Healthcott. And he sells and rents both mobility equipment and assistive devices. Bennett will be talking to you in just a minute. We're also joined by Diva Parikh, who you'll meet in another minute. And Diva is a member of the Virginia DC local support group for peripheral neuropathy. And she has graciously agreed to be a model customer and go around the store with Bennett to investigate and explore some of the equipment and devices that he has available for both sale and rent.
Over the years, I've helped several family members with all kinds of illnesses, and this franchise came up and I fell in love with it and I bought it. The store has been here 3 years and it's growing on a weekly basis, and we're here to help people. We repair, clean all kinds of scooter, lift chairs, hospital beds, power chairs, wheelchairs. So we sell them, we repair them, we clean them, and we rent them.
Hi, I'm Diva. I have peripheral neuropathy, specifically small fiber and autonomic. And I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So I'm here to deal with one, the fact that I have low blood pressure and I pass out a lot. So, you know, I want to avoid falling. And then 2, because of hypermobility and my ligaments being loose, I sometimes dislocate things. So that's where, you know, some of this stuff could help. For walking, I use these are hiking poles, but, you know, I have trouble standing. So it, you know, could be nice to have something that's more supportive while standing, because these don't really do much for me while standing.
Excellent. So maybe Bennett can show us some grab bars, something that will help you in terms of falling or potentially fainting in the bathroom. We mentioned that. Bennett, would you like to show us some of your equipment?
Sure, so we're gonna go around the store, and I'm sure all of you that are watching, something's gonna catch your eye. And you can call me, you can pick my brains. I've become more of a social worker and case manager in this business, as well as a store owner, and I help a lot of people. So over here on the right, we have lift chairs. So the lift chairs are rentable, and I also sell them. And basically, I'm sure you all know what a lift chair is. It's a lift recliner. So it's a plush, luxurious, beautiful chair that comes with a headrest that moves on its own. So if the chair goes back, you can have a pillow. It has lumbar. The back operates independently from the feet. Okay, and then people have a problem getting up and can't get on their feet on their own. This will put you on your feet. A lot of people rent these when they're having shoulder surgery, hip surgery. A lot of people just sleep in these. They buy them to sleep in. All right. So we have all different kinds. We have, they're not really leather, they're vinyl leather. And then we have cloth. We also have tables that fit under and also a swing away and also assist you in getting up. And these go under the legs. Okay, so we have lift chair tables, and then we have hospital bed tables as well. We have this one, which is kind of a upscale hospital bed table. It's on the large side, but it fits right under the hospital bed.
And what is this stand-up piece here?
This is a new item I got. It's called a Retro Return 7500. So it's a sit to stand lift. So the people who can use this, they need to be able to stand on their feet and pull with their arms, but they can't walk. People who can't walk and they need to be transferred. It goes in to the bathroom. It'll go up to a chair. The person gets on it. Okay. he pulls himself up, and we have a strap. If they're not really steady on their feet and we're afraid they're not gonna be able to hold themselves up, there's a belt and it hooks right on here. Very economical. It's got brakes here, so it doesn't move. You know, we have the big manual sit to stand lift, which is this, and then you have the electric sit to stand lift that people need. The sit to stand lift that's electric, you put the strap around their waist and they hold on to the bars and it helps pull them up. This is for people who can pull themselves up.
You still
but
have the
can't
strength.
walk.
Yes, okay.
Okay, we have manual and Hoyer lifts with slings.
What is a Hoyer lift?
A Hoyer lift is for a person who cannot get out of bed on his own, who can't get out of a chair on his own, whether
Okay.
he's paralyzed or MS or just they're bedbound and
Okay,
they need help getting out. And then we have
perhaps we're ready.
bunch of other things in the store. We sell grab bars for the shower. We sell sock aids to help you get your socks on.
So how did those actually work?
So you put the sock on and you pull it up. It helps you pull it up. So if you can't get low enough,
Yeah.
it'll help you pull it up.
Is that for compression socks or any sock?
I'm not sure whether it's for compression socks.
Okay.
Compression socks are tough to get on. This is, I think, just for regular cotton socks.
Okay,
We have, these hook onto zippers that are small
mm-hmm.
and it helps you pull up your zippers. We have suction cup grab bars that you can put in the shower.
Do you feel comfortable with them if they're not installed in the tile? Because we didn't add it when we did our bathroom and now we're wondering, are
They
these
work.
suction cups?
They were.
They
My
were.
father at a young age had these in his shower and I'm like, what is he doing with this? But it's something to hold on to. And it's an easy install and they're not expensive.
Eva has a
Yeah,
question.
I think that could be not a question or a comment. I think that could be helpful for me because I rent, so.
Yeah, you don't have
I
to
don't
pay.
know.
You can buy these.
Yeah,
You know, you can buy them from me.
yeah,
Everybody likes to buy online. That's my biggest competitor, but you got me to come to, talk to face. You can try it out. Anything in the store, you can try out. A lot of people would rather come and see me and talk to me and pick my brains. I have 3 years in this business. I learn every single day about something else and I'm a wealth of knowledge. So people like to come in and I just had a customer in here. She was in here an hour and a half with her family and she sat in every chair until she found every scooter or power chair until she found one that fit her and she found one that fit her.
Okay,
So over here, we have a combination of things. We have rollators. I have all kinds of rollators. I have nitro rollators. I have your aluminum, just walkers. I have Medline rollators and power rollators. I have drive, duet rollators. This is a rollator. It also serves as almost like a wheelchair, but not quite. Okay, so this folds up back like this. Okay, it's stuck. But anyway, it folds back in. So that usually folds in. And this, so people can walk with this as a rollator. When they get tired, they put the brakes down and they can sit on it. Okay, and just stay. Then, if they're too tired to keep walking, they take this out, put it in here. You pull out the leg rests, you pull up the arm, they walk around here, they sit in it, and then they can be pushed around. This isn't a long-term solution. This is going to the mall, going to a restaurant. It's just short-term, for short-term use.
okay,
And you always want to make sure the locks are down and somebody should be either in front of it or
Uh-oh. Judd,
Hello
Jeff?
there.
How you doing?
Good, good.
okay, Judd, we've lost the audio on the video clip. There we go. Hit play. Oh dear. Sorry, folks, Judd is working on it.
Was the audio coming through your voice, John? You're muted.
I'm hearing it loud and clear.
We're not hearing it. I
We're
think the
not.
audio's coming through your connection. So if you mute yourself, I think that mutes the video.
Ah, okay, here we
And we
go.
might go back a little bit, please.
Yes, sorry about that.
You need to go back about 2 minutes.
Something like that. That's the start of that temporary walk.
Yep.
this is a rollator. It also serves as almost like a wheelchair, but not quite. Okay, so this folds up back like this. Oh, it's stuck. But anyway, it folds back in. So that usually folds in. And this, so people can walk with this as a rollator. When they get tired, they put the brakes down and they can sit on it, okay, and just stay. Then, if they're too tired to keep walking, they take this out, put it in here. You pull out the leg rests, you pull up the arm, they walk around here, they sit, and then they can be pushed around. This isn't a long-term solution. This is going to the mall, going to a restaurant. It's just short-term, for short-term use.
Okay,
And you always want to make sure the locks are down. And somebody should be either in front of it or behind it, because the brakes only work on the back. So it still can move. You gotta be careful with these things.
okay.
We're all about safety. I rent all types of wheelchairs and transport chairs. Transport chair is a big mover. It's light, it's 15 pounds. Transport chair can be rented for a day, a week.
Oh, that's
a month.
excellent. Mhm.
Okay, and I rent more transport chairs than I do wheelchairs because they're lighter. These are 15, 20 pounds as opposed to wheelchairs that are 40 pounds.
Right, so easier to put in your trunk.
Easier for anybody to put in their trunk. It folds up like this, and there you go. Goes right in there.
And good for vacations and
Yep.
things.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
that's a good point too,
To take
Dita.
on the plane. We have all types of wheelchairs.
Oh, okay.
And so let's just go over here.
Mhm.
So these are all wheelchairs that I sell. I pride myself on my wheel. I have 3 companies that I buy wheelchairs from and nobody else. I buy chairs from Medline, I buy chairs from Drive, I buy chairs from Pro Basics. Oh, yes. And I forgot the strong back wheelchair. So the strong back wheelchair is made in Sweden. Okay, we open the chair like that. It's made in Sweden. It's very, very light. Okay, this thing is maybe 15 pounds. A little pricey, but it's got an ergonomic back. Okay, it folds like this. And the propulsion on this is like no other wheelchair. You really move in this. And for the caregiver who has to put it in and out of the car, it weighs practically nothing. It's maybe 15 pounds. Again, it's well made. It's made in Sweden. We have it in a transport chair. We have it in a regular wheelchair. And the beauty of this is the wheels pop off, so you can make it even lighter
Oh, wow.
and put it in the car and just pop the wheel right back on. So I'm sure the first question is insurance. Will insurance pay for that? This is considered a luxury and it will not be paid by the insurance. Maybe you buy it, you get a receipt and you give it to your secondary insurance and they might give you something on something back. But this is considered a luxury and it's not covered under insurance.
Okay.
I also have many transport chairs here, all kinds. I have the big wheel transport chairs. I have the small wheel transport chairs. And again, it's a big mover for taking your loved one to dinner, taking them to the doctor. Every week you got 3-4 doctor's appointments. This chair is about 15-20 pounds. It's light. The legs come off. It fits right in the back of the car or in the trunk. This will go between your back seat and your front seat, right in the foot area. Folds down like this, and then when you get out, you can fold it back up and you can put the leg rest on it. So it's something to think about if you got a lot of doctor's appointments.
What should we know about scooters?
Scooters, okay. So there's all different types of scooters. I sell reputable name scooters. I work with Drive, I work with Pride, I work with Golden, I work with Merit, and I work with Journey Health. So I have all types of scooters. It's up to the patient on what they want. Some people prefer the scooter and the tiller in front of them, which this is the tiller, this is the seat. The scooters, most of these break down. You take the seat off, you take the battery off, you take the wheels off, and you have 4 pieces at about 25 pounds each. Takes 5 minutes to take it apart and 5 minutes to put back together, not even. Okay. So these all the scooters, most of them break down. Now the bigger ones don't. So we have scooters and we have mini power chairs. This happens to be a Pride Go-Go. This is a Merit Easy Go. And they all break down. Now the mini power chairs are operated with a joystick as opposed to a tiller and the speed control on the tiller itself.
So if you're in a smaller apartment or a smaller space, what would you recommend?
So on a smaller apartment, I recommend one of these. Okay, back at the wheelchairs.
Yeah.
Go ahead, you had a
So
question.
a question I had was, Six Flags, Disney, museums, very often, like, I'll either rent the cheap wheelchairs or get a free one. And my hip ends up really hurting after that, because it's like the support is nothing. So like, are there any rentals that have better support?
So if I'm you, first of all, it's really important that they size you. Whenever you're buying something, it needs to be sized. It's not one size fits all. All our waists and our hips are different. So wheelchairs, 16-inch, 18-inch, 20-inch, 22-inch, 24-inch. So you need to make sure you get fitted for it. You want at least 2 inches on either side of the hips when you're in a wheelchair. You don't want to be squished in there like a sardine. Some of the chairs are more comfortable than others. This one is just a vinyl chair. This is in antimicrobacterial product that helps if you can wipe it down and get rid of the germs. But if I'm you, I buy a gel foam cushion.
Yeah.
That you can take with you when you rent these chairs. There are some chairs that are more comfortable than others, but when you're renting them, the rental places aren't gonna have
Yeah.
the selection.
Yeah.
They go with the cheaper that they can make money with.
Mhm.
And so, my hips hurt too sometimes when I sit in these things. So I would just get a gel foam cushion. Unfortunately, you gotta take a few, but it might help.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would try one out, I would, you know, come to the store, try one out and say, this might work, or no, that's not gonna work.
Mhm.
And you gotta make sure they're giving you the right size. They should be asking you your weight and your height when you rent, so
Yeah.
that they, okay, she needs a 16-inch chair. I don't think you need any bigger than 16-inch or petite, so.
In terms of height, like, if, I didn't know height was a factor, because I do recognize, even when I'm sitting in a desk chair, that like when my feet don't touch the floor, it puts a strain on my hip.
Right, so yeah, the leg rests on the wheelchairs are adjustable. So you need to ask them to adjust it, or you need to adjust it yourself. But if they ask me to adjust it, I adjust it for them, because that's what we're in business for, to help people, not to make it more difficult on them.
And,
So,
and in terms of like those cushions, could they be used on just like office? chairs
anything,
and stuff?
you can take that cushion anywhere, it doesn't have to be used in a wheelchair. And I deal with a company called Proactive. Proactive is a large cushion maker, and you guys can go online and look at what you think you need, or if you have any questions, then you can call me and I can lead you in the right direction. There are Roho cushions, which are $500 or better. There's Proactive, which is pretty reasonable. They're not high-end cushions, but they're good cushions. And this is it. See, it's Proactive. That's the company, Proactive.
Okay.
Okay, so you could get these, you could get back cushions, you could get seat cushions. The
Yeah.
foam gel could go on any chair,
Yeah.
doesn't have to be locked into
No,
one thing.
they're actually trying to slowly get us back to the office, so I think something like that
Yeah.
would just be useful for the desk.
You know, get a good
Yeah,
ergonomic for your back, and
Yeah.
then just get a cushion for the bottom.
yeah, because
You should
obviously I
be fine.
can't bring in my own chair, but
No.
I could bring in my own cushion.
Yeah, well, make sure if they get your chair, make sure they get you a good one.
And with all of us zooming so long and so often,
Yeah.
that could be a factor too.
Yeah.
I was thinking for my chair.
Yeah.
Do we want to move to bathroom?
Oh, yeah, so basically, I represent a lot of companies with toilet risers, commodes,
Shower.
shower chairs. They're all different kinds of shower chairs. There's thousands of them out there. I represent Platinum Health, which is padded shower chairs on wheels. These are just your simple back and no back shower chairs. I got a shower chair with handles. These are all commodes. They're very cheap, they're inexpensive, therefore people who just come out of surgery and they don't want to do what they gotta do in their bed, and they can't make it to the bathroom, so we put a commode by their bed. With each commode, I give them a box of
Liners.
liners. So, you know, this comes with the commode, so nobody has to do anything, just throw the liner out when they're done. There are a bunch of different toilet risers, you know.
What is a walker tray?
A walker tray for the aluminum walkers. Here, I'll show you. My wife take it off? No, it's on. So this tray, this aluminum walker, okay,
Oh, I see.
has a tray on it.
Oh, very nice.
Okay, so that's aluminum tray walker. I also have a rollator here that people can use in their homes. Okay, if they have dinner and they want to bring the dinner into the living room, there's a tray on the walker. So it's made by Standard, and we're gonna go into the Standard product next. But this is for, you can put your ketchup, your salt, your knife and stuff in here. You put your drink and your food, and you can walk this right into your living room and have your dinner.
Very
That
nice.
actually sounds really helpful, because I
Yes.
have dropped things.
Of course, absolutely.
This company here, this is Standard. Standard, be independent. So I'm sure you all have seen these. These are for the car. You know, a lot of us can't get out of the car as we get older. There's a hoop on the inside of the car door. You put this in and use this as a handle to support yourself and get yourself out of the car. They have one that is a flashlight, and then they have just this one. So that's a big, the name of the company is Standard. They also, when you go to places, and you see people can't get out of their chair, and you see the caregiver grabbing at the back of their pants and pulling their pants up around their shoulders, gotta be uncomfortable. And they also, you know, grab you under your shoulders. If they have enough strength to grab this and they're sitting down, grab that. Okay. Between the both of us, if you're sitting down, I can help you,
Yeah.
but you need to help me. I'm not gonna do it all myself, and pull yourself up. And it takes the strain off the back of the arms and the back of your pants. This is called the handy handle. Okay, so we got that. We also have the easy swivel seat cushion. So if you're in the car and your cloth is rubbing against the cloth in the car, and you don't swivel as easy as you should, that's what that is. It just swivels. It's very smooth. We also have car caddy, which you can put on the inside of the door to help you get out of the car, as well as this. So you have one hand for that and one hand for this. It's called the car caddy. What else?
Actually, this thing, I think could be really helpful for me, because if I'm ever at a friend's house and there aren't enough places to sit, and I'm sitting on the floor, everything goes numb. And then if I need help getting up because everything's numb, people pull at my hands and then my shoulders dislocate. So this could help me just keep my elbows in and still get.
Sounds like a good idea. You just have to remember to take it with you.
Yeah, I mean, this
Yeah.
could fit in my little pink backpack.
So Standard also makes an assist tray that fits under couches. The couch is set on it, and it's got the handle to help you get in and out if you want, and you've got the tray that swivels. They also make a bunch of rails for the bed that goes under your mattress.
Mhm.
Okay, you got the bigger ones. What else do we got? We have, and then we have smaller ones, like this.
Oh, yeah.
This is half the size. All right, and then there's one this size that fits under the bed as well.
Okay.
So they make all kinds of stuff like that. It's a really, really good company. We wanted to go to the grab bars, okay? So it's just, there's no construction really on this. It's put in up here, it's snugly put in here and put up there. And
So you could do it yourself. You
Yeah.
don't need professional installation?
I do it. I do the install.
I see.
And it comes with a wrench and you just tighten. The beauty of this is you can put it by the couch. And the person can, in between a couch and a chair, this swivels. So if you have somebody sitting in a couch here, they can use it. And if there's a chair on the other side, you just swivel it. And they use this to get up.
Right.
The other thing is in the bathroom. We're all getting older. The bathroom is
Danger zone.
slip. This could go in between the toilet and the toilet and the shower. Okay, so when you're in the shower, you could be holding on to this or hold on to it when you get out. And then if you're on the toilet, you could just swing it around and just use this to help you get up. off the ground.
Mhm.
It's not astronomical, and it's easy to put in, and it'll help you. All the stuff in here, a lot of people don't want to admit that they need the help. Okay, and there's nothing to be ashamed about coming in here and asking for help. I deal with it on a daily basis. And some people come in here, they're very hesitant. They don't want it, they don't want it, they don't want it. We sit, we talk, we go over everything, and then they wind up getting whatever they need
Right.
to get them through the day.
Mhm.
As we get older, we slip, we fall, we lose our balance. I get so many different types of people in here every day that need help.
Okay, I have one last question, Bennett. My dad had a stroke and was paralyzed, and we had issues with a ramp. And my poor mother killed herself trying to get him in and out of the car. So if you would talk about this a little bit, this caught my eye.
So, first of all, the caregiver always is paying the price.
That's right.
Not the patient, but the caregiver. We have to worry about the caregivers because without the caregivers, the patients are in big trouble. So we always need to take care of the caregivers. So we have all kinds of ramps. Nowadays, I don't really see too many ramps that we put scooters in the car with. We either have lifts, which I represent, Harmar lifts, which you can put your scooters on the back. You just drive it on, you hit a button, it raises it, and it locks it in. You can also buy a ramp like this. I deal with easy access. I deal with Prairie View. I deal with access for you. So at our homes, people call me all the time, they want ramps, okay? The first thing you need to do is, I need the height of the steps. Per law, ADA law, 1 inch of step equals 1 foot of ramp. And why is it like that? The pitch, if you have six inch steps and you buy a 3 foot ramp for those 6 inch steps, you're gonna be like this, trying to get the loved one up and down the ramp, and it's not safe. It's all about safety. So they have suitcase ramps that fold and then fold again. So they fold in the middle and then they fold in half. And hold on, I'm gonna get you one, don't go anywhere.
I wonder how much they weigh. My mother is as small as I am, and I think it would be an effort for her. But compared to trying to get him in and out of the wheelchair without help, it would probably be worth it.
So this is a 4 foot, maybe a 5 foot suitcase ramp, okay? It's just like a suitcase. They lock in and you can pick it up and carry it like this,
Oh, wow.
okay? But you need to measure and you need to do it right. If you have 6 feet of stairs, you need a 6 foot ramp. If you have 4 stairs and they're normally 4 to 6 inches each, so let's say 4 times 16. If you have 16 inches of stairs, you need 16 feet of ramp because of the pitch.
I see.
And then if it's like 20 inch stairs, you gotta get a modular
Okay, my mom would have needed that.
with rails. It's just impossible to get the loved one up and then down safely.
Okay,
So ramps are a very touchy business. And speaking of toilet risers, that's a toilet riser. They're automated and it lifts you up right on your feet.
wow.
And then you have smaller ramps for the front door. If it's 2-3 inches, you can get these.
Mhm.
You know, those are for the smaller lips
Yeah,
that when you
helps.
push the wheelchair over, it hits that lip and you can't go anywhere and you gotta pull it back a little.
Mhm.
This will go right on that lip of that door. You can get them in rubber and you can get them in metal.
Well, great. That answered my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, friends, I think that is a wrap and
Thank
we
you
look
all.
forward to questions from the audience next. Both Eva and Bennett will be available if you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Are there any questions from anybody right now? You can raise your hand or put your, go to chat and put your question in and we'll try and help you.
No question, but if anybody lives in the Philadelphia area, there's one in King of Prussia.
I was amazed. They're all over Oklahoma, Kansas, Kentucky, New York, Texas, many in Texas. So if you are in any of those areas, you might want to check it out. And Brenda has her hand up. Brenda?
Yeah,
Yes,
Brenda?
Pat, again, what was the address of the gentleman we just visited? Where is this shop located?
I put it in the chat and I recommend that everyone save the chat, especially if you're on your laptop, it's really easy. But Judd always saves it and posts it on our website so that you can get these addresses and links, etc. But I will tell you, it's in Alexandria, Virginia, 5586 General Washington Drive, Alexandria, Virginia. And that's 22312, or you can just Google Mobility City, Alexandria, Virginia, and it'll come right up.
Okay, one thing I wanted to say about the rollator is there's also if you're over 6 feet tall, which I am, the rollator they have, you see people rolling down hunched over. They do have something called the silver crate rollator, where I could actually, I don't use one right now, but I've tried it out. It's for people who are tall and women and men who are tall. And you can rest your arms up here and walk with it.
Would you put that in the chat, the name of it, please?
Yeah, it's called the silver crate. Put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you. There we go.
Any other questions?
I will say that Bennett is terrific with answering questions and working with you. He'll meet with you and your caregiver, go over the options, tell the advantages and disadvantages of various pieces of equipment. Several people put in the chat of ways that some of this might be useful. I thought the one from the ceiling, floor to ceiling grab bar was a terrific idea in the bathroom because it doesn't involve a major professional installation, and it would give you something secure to hang on to as you move between the bathtub, the tub, and the toilet. Other people have experience with rollators, wheelchairs, anything that they would like to share with the group. Not necessarily related to Mobility City, but just your own personal experiences, because we find that personal experience and sharing that is one of the most valuable parts of these meetings. So if, like Brenda Cheadle very kindly lent me the grab bars that are suction cup for me to use in our bathroom, and we like them so much that we're now having professional ones installed. So thank you for sharing that, Brenda.
Yeah, thank you, Brenda. Mike, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
First off, just if you've never tried to use one of those little carts in the grocery stores that go around, I recommend you try it just to get an idea of what they're like. I've used one enough that I kind of enjoy. I don't usually do it now, but I have tried them, and they're kind of fun. If you got an empty aisle, you can pretend you're a child again, of course. Secondly, we have a grad bar in front of my toilet. It's a very narrow bathroom, and there's a wall right in front of the toilet, and I put a grab bar there. And one of the things that's always concerned me is, what if I had to move into assisted living? Would I be able to find a bathroom that's small enough? Because they tend to make the bathrooms bigger in assisted living so that somebody else can come in and help you. Where would I be able to, how would I get off the toilet? Because I find it very difficult to do that. And because my legs are so much weaker than they used to be. And so I was very interested in this thing that lifts you off the toilet that says, hey, you don't have to stay in the house you're in right now. Maybe one of these devices could be used to give you the option of moving somewhere else if you did have to move into an assisted living thing. And I just when I was listening to that, I said, oh, that's an option that I hadn't thought of.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Rich, got your hand up. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
thanks. Yeah, thanks. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Yeah, just piggybacking on to what Mike just said about the grab bar, it reminded me about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, my mom was staying with us, and we were concerned about, something for her to have something to grab onto. And we got one of those suction cup handles, and it worked great. The only caution would be that depending on, the material you have in your bathroom, if you have tile that has grout, you want to avoid a grout line, because obviously that's not going to maintain the suction that you need. So, if you have a smooth surface with nothing like that, I don't think that would be a problem. So my next comment is a question to Pat. Pat, do you know at Mobility City, was most of the equipment that we saw, was that available for both sale and rental?
Yes, was my understanding, that he works with you very specifically. He does 1-day rentals if you're coming home from surgery, or weekly, monthly. He pretty much has been, at least I have not used him personally to ask him to order anything. Thank the Lord, I don't need it yet. So I can't really attest to how responsive he is, but he certainly was affable and willing to answer any questions and work with us.
Yeah, great. Well, I know he mentioned the rental. I just didn't know if most or all of what we saw was available for both sale and rental.
Right.
But you
I think
think
you mentioned the brand names in case you have been doing research and you want a particular kind. But I don't think he's limited to just what was shown there. He pretty much will work with you.
Okay, yeah, he certainly sounded that way. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Rich. Any other questions right now? Okay, well, we have 10 minutes and Mike Foxworth has breaking news that he wants to share with us for about, you got 9 minutes, Mike, until break, so go for it.
Okay. I hope I got the right thing here. Oops, that's the wrong one. Oops, I'm sorry. That's not it. Okay.
But we will be alluding to that in a few minutes.
Yeah, just a second.
We have our technical team working.
While we're waiting, Glenn, that was a reference to the Western Neuropathy Association
Here we
webcast
go.
coming
Here we
up.
go.
We're going to invite Glenn to jump in here whenever he figures out how to unmute his system. The Western Neuropathy Association is having a webinar on the 25th. That's a Thursday, I think. Yes. About assistive technology, and the man who is leading the webinar is a leader. He may be the leader, I'm not sure, of a group in Pennsylvania. There is a nationwide network of every state. I think every state has one, of government agencies or government-sponsored agencies to provide information about things like you saw in the Mobility City video. So this is a site that I found by looking up the name of the man who was going to run that webinar, and I forgot his name. So this is the a3center.net. And maybe somebody will put it in the chat. That's the overall site. And within that site, you can find a program for your state. And so I'm going to click on that. And you find your state in there. Now, I don't know if there's any states missing, but for instance, in Pennsylvania, it's called Tech Owl. That's the name of this organization. And I don't know if Kim Singleton is the person who's speaking, but somebody from that office is speaking at that webinar. And if we go down here to, for instance, we're in Virginia, there is the Virginia Assistive Technology System. And we had somebody from that office come to back when we were meeting in person, we had somebody from that office come and speak. And there's a possibility maybe some in the future we'll get somebody from that office to come and talk again. But like Mobility City, where you can rent stuff, they have a program where they can either demonstrate the kinds of technology, or rent it or exchange it, or if you have one, I think probably you can give it up and they'll make it available to other people. So let me go to their site, VATS, Virginia Assistive Technology System, and I'll scroll down. I'm going to scroll down. Am I going to scroll down? Oh, wait a minute. Let me see here. Equipment. They have a demo and loan program, and this is the kind of stuff they have. I can speak to some of these. A long shoehorn. My wife has a great deal of difficulty putting her shoe on, and as the life goes on, we actually ended up one that Pat gave us of all things, and she uses it all the time. I haven't needed one, but just kind of look. I don't know if this is how readable this is, but look at the kinds of things that they will help you get your hands on and try. And you can just borrow them and try them out and see what you think. For help with the computers, help to modify your house, to, all kinds of things that are designed for people who need help. That's my thing. Do we have any other states represented here? Anybody else from a different state?
New York.
Hmm?
New York.
New York. New York. Okay. Let's try
Thank
New
you,
York.
Pat.
New York. That starts with an N, I think. There we go. They have such a program in New York. So you can look it up and you can contact them and say you can loan, or you can get one demonstrated for you. I don't know what all the mechanics are. I haven't tried it, but maybe somebody in here knows something about it. If so, hopefully he'll speak up. Device reutilization. I'm assuming that's you had one and you don't need it any longer, and maybe they will help you. They'll take it off your hands and make it available to somebody else. I don't know the details. There was another state mentioned. I don't. Helene, was that you?
No, I was thanking Pat for saying New York.
Oh, okay. So I just wanted to show you that hey, there's stuff out there. That's all.
Okay, Mike, I appreciate that.
I think
Any
that's
comments
great.
on that?
Yeah.
That's good information. Okay, well, I've got, is there any other question about what the video we saw?
I did try to list some of the products, especially the standard product line, to remind you if you say, oh, I remember I wanted to check in on this product or that product. So I put those and
No, there's a lot of information in the chat that Pat has put in graciously.
Brian Brooks, do you want to comment? You made a suggestion in the chat about scooters and electric
Well,
chairs.
Well, yes, it's been my experience that I needed to buy some of these products, and I went to places like the Senior Beacon and other um, periodicals that are geared towards elderly people, and oftentimes you can find classified ads for just these type of devices that are, in my experience, were practically brand new at greatly discounted prices. And you have to provide your own transportation, or maybe you have to clean it off or charge the batteries, but there is an aftermarket for these expensive mobility devices.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Anybody else?
I didn't see any reference to walkers for use within the house. I'm currently using a walker when I go outside, but in the house I can still get around just walking, holding onto the walls and things. But I'm getting weaker, and I know it's coming. I'm gonna have more problems standing up, and I'm going to need some help staying up without not falling. But I just wondered if anybody knows about a walker that is best for the in-house.
Looks like
That's
Mike
my
has
question.
some information. Mike?
I got my walker. I just went to to pick up on what Brian just said about things. Very often you get things that are practically brand new. I got to the point myself, I think I need a walker. And I went to the local thrift store, where the people give stuff away and they sell them to raise money for charity. And they had a bunch of walkers. And that's where I got my walker, and I'm still using it. And my wife's used it when she's been sick a few times, and then I lower it down, and now I've got it up tall again. And I've gotten to the point where so sometimes we go and walk in the mall, and I usually just use my cane, but went to see a physical therapist about a related issue, and she said, I think you might have want to start switching to a walker. It's more awkward getting in and out of the car and all that kind of thing, but maybe I'll just go to the thrift store and get a walker just for the car and leave another walker here in the house. All these things involve transitions in your life.
Yeah.
What worked before doesn't seem to be working now, and you've got to figure out a different way to function. Also, when we were talking about setting up this program, we talked about hand controls, and I'm wondering if we have some people out there who have giving up driving, and whether they've really considered the possibility of getting hand controls, because I have hand controls now, and my wife has a problem and she can't drive. So and so now if I wasn't driving with my hand controls, we would be seriously constrained in our ability to function independently in this house. So I really welcome somebody bringing up the subject of hand controls.
All right, well, Mike, that's a very good question, and I've got just about 3 o'clock, and I see Helena has her hand up, and I know she used them, but Helena, if you can hold your thought for about 5 minutes so we can take a break, and please just hold during the 5 minutes, do this to your head. And anyway, I got 3 o'clock, and we're going to meet again in 3:05, and go back to discussion and also get to the new attendees. So you've all get up and stretch and go to the restroom or go outside or run around the block.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. See you in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Pat.
Yes.
I'm going to play some music, and you see if you can hear this.
Okay. We've tried this.
I know. I'm hopeful. You don't hear it?
Little bit.
A little bit. It's not loud. Okay.
Well, it's just like notes. It's not a melody. It's not a song.
It's a guitar.
No,
You don't hear the guitar? Yeah, it's not working.
maybe plucking two strings.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to play it through my computer to get it on Zoom, just as walking music,
Right.
but it's not doing it. Okay, well, that's good. Just wanted to try that out while we had a moment. I also want to bring up Uber and Lyft as possibilities to keep people mobile.
Good point.
When we get to the other side.
Barry wrote question marks, but I don't know. Oh, I hear.
Barry's got some technical problems. He can't get his mic to work.
Yes.
Mike, if you can hear me, often we find that your mic is going to another channel on your computer. That could be true if you play music over your computer or use it for other uses. You need to bring the channel direction back around to play it through your Zoom link, how your audio is being dispersed. All right, we'll see y'all in a minute.
I'm going to move.
Okay, I'm back at 3:05. Everybody back? Helene, are you back?
I am back.
Since we were I left you hanging for about 5 minutes, and Mike brought up about the driving, hand controls.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us about what you've been through?
I just want to make my pitch for hand controls. Without them, I can't imagine because I can't drive and it's just me. What would I do? If you are at all hesitant, if perhaps you think, oh, gee, I'm not always sure where the brake is, please consider hand controls. At first, they are a little weird after years of driving with your feet, but now it's just second nature. And I am so delighted with them. And it has kept me independent. I cannot imagine. They are better than sliced bread. I can slice bread myself. I could not drive without hand controls. Please consider them if you are at all tentative about driving, because don't wait till you have an accident, please.
Helene, let me ask you a few questions. One is, did you go to the DMV or did you go to, I mean, how did you go about it?
Yeah.
I was in Baltimore at the time, and there was a program at one of the hospitals, and they tested you, do you really have, they suck you with the pins, and they gave you a cognitive ability test to be sure that you were, still there. And if you passed all their tests, they said, okay, let's go. And they started out driving in a cemetery, which I think is probably reasonable. I was terrified. I was like braking and braking and braking and braking. I was sure the thing was going to run away with me. But once I finished the program, I got a certificate. I went to the DMV. The DMV tested me with the hand controls. And then my license is marked hand controls and knob. You get a knob for the steering wheel only. And it was really painless. It was not cheap. Having them installed is a little bit of money, but so worth it. And I just strongly recommend them. And if you can find call the DMV if you're not sure, and ask them if they know where there's a program where they'll teach you to use them.
Well, my question is that in the state of Virginia, if you go to the DMV, you fail their test, they take your license away right away.
Oh.
But I've also heard that if you go to an occupational therapist and they have the same type of test, they'll just tell you, you are not, we recommend so-and-so, so-and-so, but I'm just, so you went to something that was offered in your state?
It was offered at the hospital. These two very patient women drove me around I drove around the cemetery for like 3 or 4 lessons before I was brave enough to go out on the road.
So you did not hit a gravestone or something?
No, but I kept thinking, I hope I don't wind up here permanently.
I mean, that's one, to me, that would be a bad, gloomy place to practice.
Yeah,
but,
well, you're unlikely to hit any live people in the cemetery, so there's a limit to the damage you
well,
can
we
do.
hope so.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I just so strongly recommend it. It's just saved my bacon. Yes, I could take an Uber or a Lyft, but that's not the same degree of independence.
And my last question, then we'll go to Mike. I see your hands up, Mike, so I'll go to you. But I wanted to ask you, when you needed hand controls, did you go to a company that was nearby, or did you
Yes. Mobility Works is pretty much nationwide. That's not where I had it done in Maryland. I can't think of the name of the place I had it done in Maryland. But Mobility Works is pretty much nationwide, and they do it.
But they can install it in your car.
In my car.
You don't have to go buy a new car.
No, and there's a little flip switch that shuts off the hand accelerator so someone else can drive your car. Wow. And if they bump the thing by mistake, the car doesn't take off. It shuts off the hand accelerator. So you can flip that if someone else is driving your car. I'm telling you, please, before, if you would at all consider that you're not 100% sure you should be driving, look into hand controls. That's my big.
Thank you, Helene, and I
Yes.
guarantee this will come up again, and I'm gonna call on you.
Please do. I just,
I
I'm an
appreciate it. I appreciate it because well, anyway, Mike, go ahead. Gotcha.
Bill, could I just say one thing?
No,
before-
Mike has his hand up, Pat.
No, I know, but one thing, Mobility Works is very near Mobility City in Alexandria. They are different names, and I will put Mobility Works in the chat as well. They are the ones who would install the assistive controls. Thanks.
Are they a chain, Pat? Do you know?
Yes, they are.
Yes.
They're all over the country.
So we have Mobility City, which is a chain, and Works, which is a change.
And they happen to be very near each other in Alexandria.
It's a minimum of $1,000.
That means I gotta drive up 95 to get to them. Oh my God. All right, hand up, Mike, go ahead, sir.
Well, first off, I was going to try and get Peter to speak up about his experience. If he's willing. I don't know whether he's willing or not.
Well,
Peter?
yeah, I just said that I got mine when we were in the group that met here at the police station, and we went outside, and he said, yes, I want this. It took about a week. He kept my car, and then I got it. Before then, I did have 3 accidents, and luckily I didn't hurt anybody, but there were bumper accidents. And yes, I agree with that lady. You better get it before you have accidents. And it might cost $1,000 or more, but it's worth it if you need it.
Now, Peter, did you go to Mobility Works?
No, it was a gentleman that came and said that he does this stuff, and he told us about it at our meeting when we met at the police station. And we went outside after the meeting, and he demonstrated it, and then I agreed to do it. And the thing is, I did not go officially to the Division of Motor Vehicles, so I'm glad the lady brought out, to be legally clear, you have to go to the Division of Motor Vehicles and say that you have this to be legal.
Okay. All right, Mike, you've been very patient. You got 2 minutes.
Patience. I'm not sure that I use that the word Mike and the word patience in the same sentence, but anyway. Yes, it is important that you have some contact with it. One of the things I think we have, in a previous meeting, we brought up this possibility of having a meeting somewhere where we could get together, and that would be a good occasion on which to get one of these companies to bring a car that has hand controls so that you could try it out and see what it's like. I did at the same meeting that Peter's talking about, and I drove it around the parking lot, and I said, well, it's not transparently obvious how this works, but it seems possible. And so about, I don't know, several months later, I was driving out of a shopping center, and it was a slight slope. It was a slight slope out of the shopping center, and I needed to move my foot from the accelerator onto the brake. I said, "Oh, I'm a little fast. I need to move," and I realized that I didn't quite hit the brake the way as quickly as I thought I was. My mental process says I'm moving my foot, and my physical process didn't match. And I said, oh, time to really think this through. And so I went, and I went to the same person Peter went. I don't think he's doing that any longer. Not entirely sure. And got a very good set of controls to answer, I think, the question you asked. it's hand controls, and it controls the brake and the accelerator. Controlling the accelerator, I think Helene will tell you, is a little trickier than controlling the brake. And did that. So now I just use the brake. You can lock out on this particular control. You can lock out the accelerator. I decided to hold off on learning how to use the accelerator, but yes, it becomes completely second nature. It doesn't really take very long. I thought it was going to take, oh, this is going to be forever and ever, but it's not forever and ever. You can learn pretty quickly, and you try to drive around cautiously for a while, and then I went to a place in Chantilly, Virginia, that specializes in it. It's not a chain; it's an individual company. They're very good. They did the formal training and the formal testing, and then the certification, and then we communicated to the state of Virginia. I forget exact order which we did it, but anyway, if you have hand controls, for instance, the driver's knob that goes on the steering wheel, the police will ask you, why do you have that knob? And you better show them that you have a driver's license that says, oh, I have been trained to use this. So it's a really good idea to follow the rules, even though no one is bothered to tell you what the rules are. There are rules. And so in Maryland, they're much more strict than they are in Virginia. In Maryland, I don't know what the rules are, but I do know, I've been told that you really you can get in big trouble if you don't do it according to their rules. But of course, no one wants to tell you what the rules are. So you need to find out. I don't know what the rules in Maryland are. But
Right.
you can to these vendors, and they will tell you what the rules are for your state.
Okay, thank you, Mike. I know, Glenn, you've had your hand up, and then we'll go to Helena again. Go ahead, Glenn.
Well, this is just to counteract something that I put into the chat a little while ago to emphasize it. WNA had a webinar on hand controls, on the processes that are involved in getting them and getting used to them, including how one occupational therapist trains people to use them. It's available on the Western Neuropathy Association website under resources. You can also go directly to the link I have there to our YouTube channel. This was done back in January 2023. And not only is the occupational therapist there explaining the process and the procedures, but also we had at least one of the people from our support groups come on who had it installed and talked about it from a first person perspective as well.
Thank you.
Please tell us your website.
Yeah, it's pnhelp.org. I do have the direct link to the YouTube webinar in the chat area, although it's been passed by a number of things at this point.
Okay, Elaine, go ahead.
I just want to give one sneaky little tip.
Uh-oh. What do you mean sneaky?
Well, you have one hand on the knob and one hand on the hand controls. So it's a little hard to do things like the directional signal, and you learn how to do that. I use cruise control all the time whenever I can, and that frees up having to be constantly on the accelerator. It frees up my left hand. So if you get them, think about cruise control.
Okay, a question that I have, do you have to go through a driver's license to be certified as a hand control person?
In Maryland, you do. Now, nobody's listening to what I'm saying, right? When I moved to New York and handed in my Maryland license, she did not put on my New York license that I need hand controls. And so it's not on my New York license, even though I checked when I got home and there was a restriction for it.
Oh,
yes.
hey,
The answer
nobody
is
heard
yes.
that.
You do, I had to take a driving
Everybody
test.
swear that they did not hear what.
Nobody heard a word I said. I did have to take a driving test with the hand controls in Maryland to get that restriction on my license.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Anybody
the
else
regulations
on-
do change considerably from state to state. During the webinar that we have on there, the person, the occupational therapist who's doing it is from Texas and is describing the rather arcane Texas regulations, but some states it's not as difficult and not quite as arcane.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Pat, hands up.
Pat Hauser, who's in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you can hear me, but I wondered if you could share your Pennsylvania experience where you found out quite unexpectedly that your husband could lose his license right at that moment, and you had no forewarning of that. If Pat's available?
Hello, Pat.
No, Pat.
She
okay.
has her.
She may have been listening.
There
There
she
she
is.
is.
Yeah, my husband has no issues with driving. I'm the one who
Oh,
is,
sorry.
yeah. I hired, or I went to the driving school to take the test and passed everything. And, but at the end of it, the driver recommended that I have the controls put on the car. But at that point, by the time the installation and the drivers, the equipment himself, plus he told me 20 to 25 hours of driving practice at $125 an hour. It was coming close to $7,000. And so,
7,000.
and I'm just wondering, is that what everybody else has had that experience?
I did not.
Excuse me, I just had a heart attack.
Yeah, I did not. I paid $125 an hour for maybe 7 hours for my lessons.
Mhm.
And then the installation, of course, of the stuff was like $1,700, but
Hmm.
no.
Who
So-
said? Who
So
said
what
it-
I'm hearing
5
is that
hours? Was that a state requirement for 25 hours of training?
This was the school that I went to. We had had a speaker at our support group, and then I asked to have I made arrangements to take the class, and it was $395 just to take the testing. And then that's when he recommended that I have the equipment put on, and that's when he told me what the cost would be. And I haven't done it, basically because, I mean, I could, it's not that I can't afford it, but I just didn't particularly want to spend $8,000. I was just going to cut back my driving. But then he's the one that made that. He made the approach to the state to say that he recommended that I do this. So it's gotten to be kind of an ugly mess.
Ooh.
I think I would look for a competitive bid for what's involved in. I don't see why you need 25 hours to do that. That sounds absurd to me.
Like a computer scam,
Yeah,
ripoff.
yeah, that doesn't sound like make any sense. I did pay the people, the drivers, thing of excellence for a formal evaluation. And I did have them put on an extension on my turn signal lever, so it's easier for me to switch to run the turn signal while holding on to the hand controls. But and so yeah, I think I probably put, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe 2,000 in total, including the original equipment and whatever was involved. But no, 8,000 would have been. I would have coughed a little bit about that.
Mhm.
all right, well, I think that what is being said, that every state's different, and that our team should sort of investigate the situation. And we would appreciate any help from other people in other states, so we can certainly come back to you guys about how much and where and when, because when I hear the price between $307,000, I think somebody's, not getting ripped off, but it's got to be some state. I'm sure every state's different, but we need help. So most of us are in Virginia, and we'll find out about Virginia. But in New York and the other cities or states, if you can help us with this, it would make a great session for us sometime in the future. What do y'all think?
This was a driving school that I went to. It was not the state. So I'm thinking that I really need to ask the questions through the state and ask them how they would handle it.
But my question is, would you guys be willing to get into your state and find out what the requirements are and just so we can share with our people? Is that would that be a good topic for one?
Mhm. I think so.
Okay.
You can email me, leader@pnsnetwork.org. I'll put it in the chat. If you have experiences or know about your particular state's requirements, we may have it as a session in the months to come if there's enough interest. Bill, I promised Janina, who is a new attendee, that she would be able to share her journey and ask a few questions when we're ready to go to new
Well,
attendees.
Pat, you and I are thinking alike today, so that's good. I was going to, we have a session where we have new attendees. And what I'd like you to do as a new attendee, and please give your name, where you're located, your type of neuropathy, as you hear about us, and that when you speak to us, we are a very caring and supportive group. So you're not being criticized, or we want to know about you. So is it Janina, you said, Pat?
Yes. And you're muted, Janina. Thanks.
Hi, Pat. Hi, Bill. Hi, everyone. My name is Janina Norpoth. I live in Brooklyn, New York, and I have been struggling with peripheral neuropathy for the past 3 years, kind of unexplainable to doctors. Started in my right arm, and the only explanation was disc degeneration in my cervical spine, which really doesn't explain. I kind of, described it as having a poltergeist in my arm because I have so many different crazy symptoms from burning to swelling to bruising and I could never, and they were changing so much that I felt like I was crazy trying to even describe it to doctors. And by trade, I'm a classical violinist, so it's been quite intrusive to my livelihood. And I spent the last few years having all kinds of treatments and going to doctors and also trying to balance a career on top of it. And then I was also diagnosed with ovarian and uterine cancer this past year, and have been going through chemotherapy. I'm 4 of 6 treatments into chemotherapy at this point. And was originally told by the doctors it couldn't make my existing neuropathy worse, which turned out to be wrong. And not only has it made my existing neuropathy worse, but now I'm having chemo-related neuropathy and losing feeling in my hands and feet, which is obviously very scary. And so generally, losing with each treatment, losing a lot more mobility, my ability to, just do household tasks, and it kind of changes from day to day and goes, I'm kind of in and out in what I can handle, but it's very frustrating. So I'm just trying to find some ideas and support. I'm in a cancer support group that's been really helpful to me, and just trying to find some ideas of things that may help, and trying to balance whether I continue treatment and risk further damage to my nerves or stop my treatment at this point. So that's me.
Okay, thank you, Janina. Is anyone, oh, Brenda, you have your hand up. Can you help? Do you have
Yes,
questions
Janina,
for-
Janina, I have a daughter who's now in year 3 of treatment for cancer. And so I know all too much about this disorder. And I wondered if they were bagging your hands and feet with ice when you took your chemotherapy, because they did that at my daughter's cancer center, and they said they were doing that to prevent peripheral neuropathy. So during the treatments, her hands and feet were always bagged in ice.
Yes, yes, I bought special gloves. My husband changes them out every 20 minutes during the 4-hour treatment. Hasn't unfortunately helped. Right after the first treatment, both hands and feet went cold. And then after the second treatment, I started to have numbness, and then with each treatment after that, I've been losing more and more sensation, and now starting to have more severe pain. And then during the treatment, and other very strange neurological symptoms that my doctors also can't really seem to explain. I'm also doing acupuncture and physical therapy, and seeing a neuromuscular massage therapist at Memorial Sloan Kettering, who specializes in this. So I'm doing quite a lot, and it has helped, but not hasn't stopped the progression of and the severity of what I'm experiencing.
I see
Okay.
that Glenn has his hand up, Janine, and Glenn is our
Yes,
our
okay,
walking
Glenn.
encyclopedia.
Yeah, Glenn, go ahead, sir. I know you're going to be a big help to.
Well, hi, Janina, and I'm sorry you're going through this. I did want to indicate, and I threw it into the chat, that Western Neuropathy Association has a fairly new chemo-induced neuropathy support group that will actually be meeting this coming Wednesday. I actually chair that, and the information's in the chat if you want to come on in. We even have like the passcodes and stuff in there. From what you're saying, though, I suspect, and I use this term a lot, that you're now multiply morbid, that you had some more localized neuropathy that may have had to do with your career. Obviously, there are a lot of people who experience neuropathy from compression of nerves and overuse injuries who were musicians, dancers, people of that nature. The other possibility, though, given what you've reported about your cancer situation, is that it may have also been one of the early signs of the cancer before it was diagnosed, because there are autoimmune mechanisms from substances that tumors produce that often can involve an interaction with peripheral nerve. And this was, of course, before anything chemotherapeutic happened, which I'm sure is making it worse. There are probably some things you could try to help some of the nerve healing, because the one good part about chemo-induced neuropathy, not that much of it is good, is that for many people, once the chemotherapy stops, over a long period of time, their nerves regenerate to a certain extent and their symptoms can get lessened. Some people even wind up losing the symptoms entirely, although that's more unusual. There are certainly, various supplements you can try. And if you want to, like I said, come to that support group, we talk about them a lot. At least the good thing is that you apparently had a little warning about this with your chemotherapy, because one of the common complaints in that group is that many people are not told by their oncologists that their chemotherapy is terribly neurotoxic. And it is, almost all those drugs have bad effects on nerve. Um, but what I'm hoping is that, first of all, your cancer treatment will go well, and that, over time, you may get a lessening of some of these symptoms. The problem with being multiply morbid is something called the double crush phenomenon, which I bet you're experiencing. And that's when a systemic neuropathy is then made worse by a compressive injury or force on already compromised nerves. And unfortunately, often the symptoms are greater than the sum of their parts. It's the reason they don't like to do spinal operations on diabetics, for example, because diabetics already have nerve compromise, and if they then get spinal nerve compromise, there's less of a chance of a successful surgery. But please feel free to come to the group. I'll make sure I do this all the time. I'm going to throw my email into there if you want to email. I think almost everybody here who isn't new has my email address, and we can, go over anything that you might want to talk about.
Dean, are you okay on that? Are you?
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. That's really super helpful. And actually, you're the first person. I've suspected that all along, but you're the first person who's not made me feel crazy for suspecting.
Well, Glenn is a resident expert for us, so he's a wonderful person, wonderful helper. So please join his support group. Is there anyone else new to the group?
Monica Watkins, I think you came the last month, I'm not sure, but I know you've been a recent connection for us, if you want to say anything.
Hi. Yeah, I've done, I think, 2 sessions with you all. I last session.
Oh, you're here for overtime, aren't you?
Yeah, I love overtime. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do overtime today though. But I did want to say that you guys were talking about or I think Mike asked me if I had an EMG NCS. I think maybe the first time I joined or I attended. And actually I just got an appointment for it at Inova at the end of April. So I'm not super excited to hear what the results are. But like I said, just coming to this group let me know that there are tests that can be done to just give me more information on like what's going on with me.
Thank you, Monica. I remember that now, the EMG NCS question. So happy to hear you're going to follow through with Inova. Excellent.
I'm glad you came back. Is there anyone else who is new or newer? All right, I guess we can go to open discussion. Is there anybody here? We have 20 minutes before overtime, and we know Monica loves overtime. But anyway, is there any other ideas on anyone's mind to bring up?
I'd like to mention Neighbor Force and Senior Helping Seniors. It's sort of tangentially related to this topic. Those are groups of gig workers who have special skills. For example, Neighbor Force hires people with specific skills, and then Seniors Helping Seniors are seniors who then volunteer to work with other seniors. These are groups that charge by the hour, and either 1 or 2 hours minimum. And then they can do things, everything from changing a light bulb to installing a doorbell or even washing dishes, or some people just use them to have some social time. Maybe somebody may read for you, or they could go shop for you. I mean, there's many different things they could do. I just mention it because we had a presentation from both of them within the last year, and I put the link to the video in the chat. So,
right. They will, of course, do things like drive you to doctor's appointments, but they will also do things like drive you to the library, places where you might not have access on your own. A little safer perhaps than Uber or Lyft because they're all vetted. They are, you are assigned or you work with a single person, so you get to know them. It's not like a stranger is appearing at your door. So it was a very positive presentation. So if you're looking for that kind of assistance, again, it isn't weekly, monthly, it's as needed. And we thought both of them were very good in their presentation. And I can't say enough about the website. Judd keeps us on target. We are so grateful to Judd for doing this. There is a wealth of information. You should investigate, even as basic as a newbie guide when you're first diagnosed. What are some of the issues that you're going to face? There's things like questions to ask your doctor. There's shared resources like a PT person who was particularly helpful. So please go to the website, join, it's free, and you get the invitation each month automatically then. And also take advantage of the many excellent articles that are on there.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Pat. Okay, Judd.
Those services don't do anything medical. Not even help you with pills and things like that. They totally are non-medical. So when you think of them, think of household chores and that kind of thing.
And they're about $30 to $35 an hour if you're interested in hiring them.
Okay, again, thank you, Judd. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Judd. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Bill.
Is there any other comments today? Open discussion. Going to circle back.
Elaine's got her hand up.
Elaine, I'm sorry. Elaine, go ahead.
I'm not sure. Somebody told me I needed a rollator because I'm having back surgery next month. Not that I'm terrified. Does anybody have any suggestions about a rollator? I don't know anything about them other than what this gentleman just told us today, but I'm not going to go out and buy one. I don't expect to use it for long. Yes, sir.
Elaine, the first thing I would say is I would ask your orthopedic surgeon what he does. And then I would ask get a referral to an occupational therapist who will certainly nail it down for you.
That's a good idea.
That's my comments.
Thank you. That's an excellent idea.
Anybody else? But
Well,
I would not just pick up one at the store at Walmart and say, it's got to be signed. As I said, orthopedic surgeon give you a referral to an occupational therapist, and they could certainly narrow it down for you. Brenda, your hands up.
As Helene, I would check with places like libraries, churches, civic associations, because a lot of places have a closet of this kind of equipment that people no longer have needed and they've turned it over. I know our church has a lending library of all this kinds of thing. If you lived closer, I would lend you my rollator. Rollators are so common that I'm sure there's somebody out there in your community who has one who'd be happy to lend it to you. I have tons of equipment because we took care of my father-in-law who was on a wheelchair for several years. We took care of my mother for 13 years. So I have all this equipment.
I'm on my way.
But you will love a rollator because you feel very safe. They're very safe, very smooth, very easy riding. So do find one, but I bet you'll find one that somebody will just lend you for free.
That's great. Thank you. I'll ask around.
Thank you, Brenda. Pat, you got your hand up.
I wrote in the chat, the Buy Nothing groups all across the United States. They often will offer equipment after they no longer need it. People have said not to go to Goodwill and Salvation Army because you don't know the quality of the equipment or how it's been used. I don't know if that's true or not, but I love the idea of asking your orthopedic surgeon first, if it's necessary, and second, if it is, to give you the referral. I had back surgery almost a year ago and I did not need a rollator, but that doesn't transfer to you, of course. Each one is individual. Pat Caston has her hand up.
Well, I had the wrong Pat. Pat, you were going to be first, and
All
of
right.
course, well, anyway, go ahead, Pat K.
Well, for anyone who's in or near Washington, D.C., there is an institution called Iona House, IONA House, that helps aging and disabled people. And they do have an equipment closet where you can borrow things like rollators and walkers and canes, etc., and also donate ones that you're no longer using. So that's another potential source.
There
Great
must be
information.
something
Thank
there.
you. We are almost on schedule here, and what I'm going to do, if there's no other real question, I'm going to go to closing remarks. And you know what I always say is, where is it? Motion is lotion, rest is rust. And when you start, go slow and go low. And if you can't even stand up, sit and be fit. Those are my closing remarks. Okay, Pat, I'm going to turn this over to you to finish up.
Okay, thank you. On the wrap-up slide now, as I told you, the best way to save the chat, or the best way to know what you want to maybe refer back to, is to save the chat. If you don't know how to do that, it's very simple. You use the ellipse, the 3 dots, you right click and it says save chat, and it's saved to your local computer. If you don't have that ability or don't want to bother with it, Judd always puts up the chat on our website, another reason to go there in the coming week, so you can get these links. In the meantime, I put up Mobility City's address here. You can jot it down now if you don't want to worry about waiting for the chat to appear on the website. And the telephone number 703-772-5030, and mention that you heard about us, heard about Mobility City through this group. The next thing I wanted to say is that there is a Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy webinar coming up on April 10th at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. It's on understanding peripheral neuropathy associated with kidney disease. So if that applies to you, you can register at foundationforpn.org, and that's on April 10th. We've already talked briefly about the Western Neuropathy Association YouTube channel. Again, a valuable resource. This one is on adaptive driving, and you can just go to the YouTube channel and search adaptive driving. You don't have to worry about actually having this, though I think Glenn put it in the chat. Finally, Silver Sneakers has a little video clip on 5 stretches seniors should do every day. It's all about flexibility. And one thing I'm finding, although I'm walking a lot more, I'm not paying enough attention to stretching. So I found that, and I would recommend it. And can you go back? The last thing is on the website again, pnsnnetwork.org. We have a list of groups around the country that we know of who are meeting actively post-COVID, either in person or on Zoom, or a hybrid, both in person and on Zoom. And if you want to find a different day and time, maybe Saturday afternoon doesn't work for you, these are listed so you could find others around the country. And our next meeting will be on May 4th. And I also wanted to remind everyone that May 5th through the 11th is Peripheral Neuropathy Awareness Week. And there will be a lot of information and a drive for donations through the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy as we try to link people with support groups and continue with the very important research that is going on. Thank you.
All right, or you can write your checks to me, William S. Porter, and I will make sure it's cashed. And
Yes, sir.
anyway, sorry.
Don't trust that guy with your wallet.
Yeah. Are there any other questions before we go into overtime?
I'll ask one.
Chuck,
What's
go
the
ahead.
latest ongoing promising research on peripheral neuropathy and what's going on with it?
Go ahead, Pat D.
well,
Pat D.
I'm sorry I'm talking so much, but I had recently just reviewed the research page on the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy. I don't know if you look at that, Chuck, but I found it really, I found it really interesting, the breadth of research that is going on, things related to nerve entanglement, PN, and carpal tunnel syndrome, because of my hands just getting very involved. I'm looking at that one. Anyway, go to the resource page, and if you go to Foundation for you don't even have to spell it out. foundationforpn.org, and in the search box, just look for research page, and they even have a QR code that will take you to a short video. And there's quite a bit of interesting information there.
All right, I'll look at it. Thank you.
Okay, Glenn, did you raise your hand up or were you scratching your nose?
No, I was scratching the beard and chuckling a little bit because when Chuck said promising, my comment was going to be, yes, as Pat says, there's a lot of research going on there, but the adjective to qualify it may not exactly be promising. There's a lot of hitting and missing. Win Santor is still doing recruitment for their stage 3 trials for their drug, which is supposed to promote nerve regrowth. There are a number of initiatives going on involving protein folding, which might have implications for neuropathy. Most of that, of course, was done for the Alzheimer's people, but apparently it's going to have implications well beyond that. So there's a lot of avenues going on, but in terms of a major breakthrough like there was for helping to cure Hep C a while ago, I think we're a little ways off from that.
All right, thank you, Glenn. Any other comments? We have 4 minutes before overtime. Brenda, go ahead.
Just that particularly for our new members and people like Janina, I think it's important that you know about the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy, because on the website there are tons of helpful videos on all sorts of topics. So it's an outstanding charity to support, and it's a wonderful source of information. But if there's anything there that you can't find, usually Glenn can tell us about it. He's also a wonderful resource.
Is that any other comments?
I just want to say thanks for all the work you're doing here. Really, it's really a great service you're providing for us.
Well, we all work hard. Pat works the hardest, but we work.
It's a great team. We're very, very fortunate to have the small group that I consider my executive team. Anyone who would like to volunteer,
yes,
always welcome.
Touchdown.
Especially if you like to write articles. Look at how many leads we got today. If we went through it and could turn it into, like, I just looked up Win Santor, and I'm going to put that in the chat. I did not know that they were still looking for participants for phase 3. So there's something new that you might want to look at. But I'm only half joking when I say we would love to have more people helping with the planning and the website, trying to keep the resources fresh and up to date and credible. We want no snake oil promotions if we can help it.
Yeah, remember, checks made to William S. Porter will help.
Oh dear.
We are looking for volunteers, so yeah. Okay, Mike, you got 2 minutes.
I just wanted to plug in about volunteers. We have a lady who has been doing the digging to find speakers. It takes a while. We have an idea for a speaker. It typically about 3 months out, making arrangements. And the lady who's been doing that, her husband got very sick, and she's become, you know, a full-time caregiver for that, on top of her own peripheral neuropathy. So yeah, we had, as of for most of the last 3 years, 4 years, the idea of having one speaker and then an open discussion, or two speakers and an open discussion. And we have found it difficult to do that, because we just simply don't have anybody dedicated to doing the digging required to find speakers and make the arrangements for the speaker to come. And so, yes, we really could use somebody willing to do that. I don't think it's a massive job, but it turned out to be something that Joanne could no longer continue doing. It's really important, not just for you, but it turns out it's important for us, the board members too. We get as much out of these meetings as anybody else does.
Yeah, and we also share a company car between four of us, so. But see, I live in Richmond, so I'll refuse to give it back to drive up 95. No, but thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Is there anybody else? We're down to 2 minutes.
Doctors are getting harder to see. That's my experience.
Yeah, it's no doubt.
I called an internist several weeks ago. She's booked out for new patients until October.
My goodness.
For new patients.
Well, I found out if you get a primary care physician to call for a specialist, that time could be cut in half.
Oh, and at Johns Hopkins, Dr. Hoke called his assistant to get me an appointment sooner than never, and it's going to happen at the end of August. So
my experience has been when you see these doctors, neurologists, they don't know what to tell you. Here's a prescription for anxiety.
Yeah.
Well, PT.
I'm pushing for another $25,000 genetic test. And he says he'll talk to me about it in my appointment. And this goes back to our meetings, going back who knows how long. I always mention it to him. He says, well, not yet, but we're going to talk about it this August.
Yeah. Okay, Rich, you got your hand up, but Chuck, we've all are going through that. Yeah, it's a big problem. Rich, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to follow up, Chuck, on your comment. Coincidentally, I had called Johns Hopkins a few weeks ago because I wanted to see Dr. Hoke. It's because of the, positive opinion people had in this group. And my doctor, Dr. Kornblath, he retired just over 2 years ago. So at Hopkins, if I wanted to sort of keep myself current as a patient, if you haven't been up there and they have a 3-year period, they say, within 3 years, you're not going to be considered a new patient.
That's right.
Yeah. So my last visit will be 3 years this October. So I thought, well,
you better get in.
I figured I better get in, so I specifically asked for Dr. Hoke. And I did that through, they have this kind of, they have a front gate you got to get through.
Right.
So I'm talking to this person and I'm, mentioning my request and everything like that. And they said, oh, they get back to me in 7 to 10 business days. Well, after 12 business days, I call them back and I say, I haven't heard from you all. Oh, yeah, let me look this up. So they give me some other doctor, a name I can't pronounce. And I said, oh, well, really, I'd like to see Dr. Hoke. And they said, oh, well, okay, well, let's see what we can do here. Well, there's no availability for him through the end of the calendar year.
That's right. And it was never for me.
And so, but they could have set someone else up for me on July 31st. That was their first available specialist
Mhm.
who could see me out of all the specialists they have in that department. And I said, really, I'd rather, can you put me on a wait list for Dr. Hope? Perhaps somebody drops off or, and so,
Drops dead.
anyway, they said, okay, so now what I'm going to have to do is they said, yeah, we'll wait list you. And I said, well, would it be okay if I call you, and just check in periodically? And they said, oh, no, that's no problem. So I'm now beginning to call them, every, twice a week is my plan. I'm actually scheduling it on my calendar.
Right.
So, maybe it's the squeaky wheel syndrome, but I do want to get that visit in before my 3-year anniversary with my last visit with Dr. Kornblath. So anyway, it's just kind of interesting you mentioned that.
I wrote Dr. Hogue personally on my chart, and I told him my circumstance. He says, let me talk to my assistant, and he did. He got back to me the next day. If you're comfortable with doing that, you have a fairly good relationship with him, he can help you out.
I have not seen Dr. Hoke previously, so the only doctor up there I've seen is Dr. Kornblath. Is there a way that I could send Dr. Hoke a message? Do you know?
Through my chart, but through my chart, but he has to be listed maybe as your personal physician out there. So I don't know how that might work.
Yeah, I'll pursue that. That's a good suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, everybody. We have to go to overtime, and overtime is a time to be social. And I know, Helene, you got your hand up, and can you come to overtime, I hope?
Yeah. Do I have to do anything or just stay here?
Just stay.
You'll be the first person I call on, but I'm going to say we're going to overtime where it could be a social group where you try and go back and if we miss somebody, we bring them up, but it's not recorded, so you can, be relaxed and easy and grab a cocktail and whatever.
I don't think I can do any of those things.
Gotta go, thanks. Gotta go, thanks.
Okay, well, we'll see anyone who stays in overtime, and thanks for being here.